there is one strategic concept that really differentiates strong chess players and allows them to play high-quality chess on a regular basis. Once you truly understand and master this one strategic concept, you're gonna be able to play so many more chess games you can be proud of. What's up, chess player? If I can say just one thing that distinguishes a chess beginner or amateur player from a professional chess player, that would be having a strategical plan. You see, whereas an amateur chess player would just make some moves here and there, he would just, oh my god, I see a move, I'm just gonna go for it because it attacks the queen, which is, by the way, already good, creating a threat attacking your opponent. But a strong chess player, he would really have a strategical plan, would try to predict the future for like at least a few moves, see what's gonna happen there, what kind of plan his opponent has, and then according to them somehow get this strategy going on, and that would distinguish him very much. Because if you are playing like one move here, knight h3, one move there, knight a3, then it doesn't have a holistic picture, holistic approach, and that is what unfortunately doesn't allow you to grow in chess. So that is what I'm gonna explain you with this game. I'm gonna play against Stockfish 2700 rated, very strong one, but at least I'm gonna have white pieces, and I'm gonna explain you my strategical decisions as well as explain you my plan throughout the game. So it all starts from the very beginning with the first move d4. I am trying to expand in the center, trying to get the control of the center. It's normally a very good plan to take control of the center because all of the most important actions in chess are happening in the center of the board. My opponent is playing knight f6, which is why I'm going to continue with knight to f3 because, well, I'm not allowed to play e4 and get the full control of the center, which is very typical. Of course, my opponent is extremely strong player. I never expect to outplay him. I mean, 2700, that's amazing, but that is a very good challenge for me preparing for my tournament. That's why I'm doing that, and in the process I want to share all of my ideas with you so you can learn with it and of course use it in your own games. Okay, my opponent plays d5. Now I'm gonna continue with c4, offering him to take this pawn, which would be a queen's gambit accepted. My opponent, although, plays the move e6, which is queen's gambit declined. Now I'm playing the move knight to c3, and this position is amazing. There are like 8 different moves for black here, which all are extremely possible, extremely playable. My opponent actually plays the Rogozin defense. That's the opening I love to play as black so much. So, well, if he is playing it, then it means that it's a really good opening, and I mean, I am a big fan of it. So what am I gonna do against it? That is a very good question. There are some queen a4 checks and stuff. There is, of course, a normal move c takes d. I guess I'm gonna go for it. That is a traditional way to go about it. And I assume my opponent would take it back with the pawn. No, he takes on c3. That is not one of the main lines, definitely. I don't recall this move at all. But I would say that simplifies the task for me. Well, obviously I have to take. I really need to spare some time because I feel like later on in the game it's going to be very important. That's, by the way, also a thing about a very strong chess player, that he maintains the time very good. I mean, chess is always battle of two things: chess position and chess clock. And if you are focused only on one of them, namely the chess position, and you're very bad with the clock, well, you're not gonna get much out of it. So yeah, I really should be careful with that. What I'm curious about, can I play here bishop to a3, preventing him from castling? What do you do about it? Maybe you play knight d7 and c5. Yeah, probably, but I mean, it takes time. I never have seen anything like that. I'm curious. I want to play bishop h3. So back to the main theme of the video, having a plan. Of course, in the opening, the main plan you should have always and always is to develop all of your pieces. But of course, it's way too general. You need to be more concrete, and you need to find the most promising squares for all of your pieces. So far, I don't understand the plan of my opponent. He plays knight to c6, which doesn't help him to make the castles. Maybe he wants to play knight d7, block the diagonal, and then castle. But I mean, that's pretty slow, and it doesn't feel like a promising plan to me. I also have a pair of bishops. When you have a pair of bishops, normally your plan should be to open up the position, to give the bishops those prospects to attack and to be very dangerous for the opponent. I have this pawn on c3, so another part of the plan is to get rid of it. Yeah, I was correct about my opponent's plan to somehow block the diagonal, because without castles, I mean, what can you do? But I'm really curious about the move c4 now, because I really want to get rid of this pawn so that it's not a weakness for me, and the position is getting more open, so I'm gonna do it. And if he takes, I also win time, because of course I want to finish my development, I want to castle. But if I play bishop d3 first, and then I castle, and then I play c4, then maybe I'm gonna just waste the tempo if he takes on c4. So I want to do it immediately, since there are no... Well, actually I have to be very careful, because now if he moves the c pawn, which would be normal to move. No, he goes for castles. Then I wanted to say that queen a5 check is actually winning the entire bishop, so I really have to be careful with that. Okay, now I have a choice. I can just take the pawn on d5, and I don't see anything bad with that, because I'm gonna have two central pawns against nobody. No guys are guarding those squares. So why not? And then place my second bishop on d3. I mean, I understand my opponent is extremely strong, extremely qualified, but I enjoy my position so much so far. Imagine how cool it would be to play chess without ever having opening troubles again. What if I told you I could teach you all openings you will ever need in just 10 days? You get lifetime access to more than 110 pure value video tutorials, almost 100 practical tasks to apply your knowledge immediately into practice, 30 plus bonus videos to dive 10 times deeper, as well as private community where all questions you might ever have are answered daily. Get a $200 limited time discount with the link in the description, and forget about all opening pain once and for all. Let's see. Well, I don't see any moves except for... What? He's not even... okay, that is actually smart. Yeah, now bishop b5 would be a great move, but then c6 and queen a5 check, and because I'm not really... I haven't really finished my development yet, I cannot take advantage of that. Yeah, and then he wants to take with that knight. That would be, of course, much more preferable. That is why I wanted to play c4 that fast and take on d5 as fast as possible, because I saw that he's not gonna... Like, if he's gonna take with that knight, then either he's not gonna be able to castle, or he's just gonna lose in exchange. But that's why he starts with rook e8 now, to take with the e knight and be as active as possible in the center. Okay, well, I still have... I never can save that pawn, so that would be a very bad plan for me, try to save it. So instead, what I should do is develop my bishop, probably to d3. I don't really see any perspectives on c4 at some point in it, but no, I just want to be stable, to be active here, bishop d3, and castles finishing my development. Because otherwise, this knight might be coming all the way to f4. Yeah, that is actually something I just have thought about it. That this spin is going to be very annoying. Maybe I should have just started with, I don't know, although h3 feels very slow, no. Bishop e2 also felt like a pretty passive move. Okay, maybe I could do something about it. Maybe I could play like queen b3 right now, creating a counter threat, so that somehow I pretend I'm not afraid of bishop takes f3. I'm risking here positionally. Once again, that's all about the plan, because if I play queen b3, he takes, then short castles would be an extremely difficult move for me to make. Also, one thing I want to point out, my opponent wants to say that my dark square's bishop, once he takes on d5, the bishop is more or less useless. And I really need to be careful. I don't want to get into such a situation. I'm thinking whether queen to c2 or queen to b3 is a better move. I of course should anticipate that he's gonna trade, because if I play queen c2, let's say, and he just takes on d5, then I play knight to e5. That would be a fantastic knight attacking the bishop, and yeah, that would be no problem for me at all. But if he takes, like queen c2, bishop takes f3, pawn takes, he plays knight takes d5. Yeah, now what do I do with my king? Knight f4 could be coming at some point. Is bishop takes e7 a move? I really never want to get rid of my bishop. Another plan is h3, g4. So here is a very good moment. Like, that is normally the moment where a strong chess player starts to think about the strategical plan for the game. because, well, the development is almost finished and you need to come up with a plan like what do you do next. And whether I should start my attack on the king side with h3, bishop h5 and g4, or I should, I don't know, just castle and play normally in the center, ignoring that fork, that pin, sorry, which is of course also possible. But yeah, it's a little bit annoying. Or I should just play queen b3 or queen c2, like I mentioned, and try to be as active as possible. The advantage of the move queen to b3 is that I'm attacking that pawn on b7. And so after bishop takes f3, pawn takes f3, there are two problems for... yeah, no, maybe not. I was thinking that I can still play the move e4, but I can never... Like, it's not a problem for him because he can still take on d5 thanks to the pin. Big thank you to the sponsor of this video, the Chestnut company, which is providing this beautiful Chestnut Evo board for me for the purposes of this analysis. It's extremely useful because you can just analyze all of your games, all of the positions, and save it in the PGN format to take a look later, which you can never do with a simple board. It has so many interesting and useful functions. I have made a complete review about it, and if you want to take advantage of the special offer and get a huge discount and buy one of the Chestnut products, this is just one of them. They have different ones to offer you depending on your preferences, so if you're interested, just use the link in the description to take advantage of this amazing offer and get a huge discount. Okay, I want to play queen to b3. It feels like the most active move, and normally, especially as white, I'm trying to make the most active move in the position. So he takes, then the only problem with my position is my king. It's in the center and I don't have a really good place to hide it. And that's what I should be worried about. But otherwise, feels like a very interesting position for me. Okay, can I take on b7? Maybe I was too optimistic about it. I thought I can do it, but maybe somehow the fact that my king is in the center of the board, that might be very dangerous. But I guess I'm about to take, because if I don't, then what my queen is doing on b3, then once again my entire plan isn't really consistent, and that is what is very important in chess, to stay consistent, not like make one move here and then one move there, and then you don't have this holistic approach. On the other hand, sometimes you can be mistaken, and it's better to understand your mistake and admit it early on than being stubborn with it, like I played queen b3, but if the entire queen takes b7 is a bad idea, then I should stop and at least don't do this mistake. I'm not sure it's a mistake, though. I see that the d4 pawn might be hanging. You know, there is a pin along the e-file, so once the knight disappears, queen takes d4. But I hope I will be able to deal with it. Knight takes c3, pawn takes, rook takes, into d2, protecting the bishop. Now queen takes d4, protecting the rook and attacking the bishop. Can I still survive? Hope he doesn't have that many pieces, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, the second rook is not coming. I'm just taking it with a queen. Okay, then it's a different story. Yeah, I'm gonna take it, because otherwise, what's the point of playing chess if you are not doing the move you really want to make? But of course, yeah, he's going for it. Maybe I have blundered or something. Of course, you should be careful with such moves, because chances are I might be checkmated. I mean, he's so strong, so if he's going for it, normally that means something bad is gonna happen. But okay, that's an opportunity to learn. That's, of course, an advantage of such a game. I have absolutely zero risk. I don't lose any rating points. Absolutely nothing like that. Okay, he takes. Now, what is the problem with the move king to d2? Well, otherwise, I mean, well, bishop e2. Bishop e2 is another opportunity, which still doesn't lose any pieces yet. But it feels incredibly dangerous, to be honest. Like queen a8, for example, how do I... Queen b5 is not even a move, queen a6 is a move. Well, maybe bishop e2 has some point, because then I want to play king f3, king f2, sorry, rook e1, and somehow stabilize this situation. Although, if the queen comes from that part, like the knight jumps somewhere, knight d5, for example, threatening knight f4, and simultaneously threatening queen to h4 check. That's not fun. Okay, but what about king to d2 immediately here? Queen takes d4, as we have said before, is not possible. Queen takes a8. But if he starts with rook b8, I might even take just on b8. Well, he has rook takes d3, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would just take 2 rooks for the queen. That would be great, but he takes that bishop as well. And if I go away, then he has queen takes d4. Yeah, it feels like king to d2 is my best chance. Knight to d5, okay. Yeah. Now, actually, my bishop can move. I'm thinking about the move bishop to e4. Why can't I do that? Maybe he has some crazy sacrifices. Rook takes e4, pawn takes queen g5, and then the combination of the queen and knight is gonna destroy me. Because otherwise, bishop e4 seems to be incredibly promising. I'm just attacking the knight. If the knight goes somewhere, this rook is hanging, that rook is hanging. That's like never possible. So, well, he can also play queen to g5 immediately, but that's no, the queen a8 check. So bishop e4, it does seem like it's very forcing. Like if you don't play rook takes e4, I don't see any move for black. Rook takes a3, I just take on d5. That's game over basically. So, although even that is not that. No, queen takes d5, and you don't have queen g5 check. Yeah, so bishop e4, rook takes e4. That must be the move. I take it. He plays queen g5. I play something like king to c2. Now knight e3 is not dangerous, just king d3. So queen g2 has to be the move. And then I go to... Can I go to b3? Goes queen f3 check, I go to a4. Yeah, but if I go to a4, there is always a check with the knight, which is very annoying. But I get so much extra material. I have like an extra rook. I can't believe that can be that bad for me. Okay, do I have any alternatives? Because I don't have that much time. There is also the move rook to e1. By the way, also very interesting because queen g5 is still not a... Or is it? So rook e1, queen g5, queen takes a8 check, rook e8 check, discover check from the queen, and then he takes my queen. I mean, that's crazy line, but that seems like losing for me. Okay, then I have even more reasons to... Rook e1, queen g5, I can just take on e3, queen takes, and king c2. But in this case, I have just an extra piece. If I play bishop e4 and don't lose there immediately, then I have an extra rook. But basically surviving is my main task, of course. Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like this is a very important position here. But bishop e4 stops the move rook b8. And rook e1, he can still play rook to b8, attacking my queen, and then I still need to play something like queen a6, which I don't like. Okay, let me go for bishop e4 and hope for the best. This is normally not the best plan in chess, but here you see it's not like I had a huge strategical plan. I wanted to make use of my 2 bishops, but the way it worked is my king is just in center, and my plan, my main hope in this position is just to survive. So queen g5, yeah, it's very straightforward. Now the question is where the king should go. For example, king to d3 is one of the straightforward variations. Queen to e3 check. But I really like king to c2 more than king to d3, because then queen goes to e3, king to c4, knight b6 check. And the bishop is hanging, right? If I play king b4, he can play a5 check, and then I still lose the bishop. And his rook is protected, and my king is still in trouble. No, I like king to c2. Then knight e3, like I said, is not dangerous, so queen g2. Now I am a whole rook up. And actually all of those pieces are hanging, but still if I go back, then knight c3 check is annoying. So I should go forward, queen f3. Now king c4, we are coming back to the same line, although the queen is on f3 now. Doesn't make any difference. Now still knight b6 check, and then bishop is hanging. Then I'm still in trouble. So I really need that bishop. So king c2, queen g2, king b3, queen f3, king a4. And still knight b6 check, right? And still king b4, I have a problem with... I have a problem with the bishop on a3. That's my biggest concern. Can I go back, actually? Or yeah, it's probably never a good idea to go back. Oh my god. Yeah, I feel like I should have at least a draw, but where to move this king is like very, very difficult. My intuition tells me I should play king to c2. Okay, I also don't have that much time. But I mean, if I blunder a checkmate, that also not helping. I really don't want to allow that knight b6 check, but that means I have to go back, which I also don't like. No, if I go back, then he takes my rook, and then he takes on e4 with a check if I stay on b2. I have to go forward. But maybe here after queen f3 I can go back. What? Queen h3. I have no idea why it's better than queen to f3 going towards the center, but that's a pure computer move. But I guess it doesn't really change that much. Now I'm curious if I just like go back to c2 or go to b2, whether he has something better than a draw. So king c2, queen c3 check, king to d1, knight e3, king e2. That's not dangerous for me at all. Queen d3, I go back to c1. That also seems like a... Ah, wait, he takes the bishop with a check. But then I have queen b2, queen e3, queen d2, queen takes e4. 30 seconds, what do I do? I can try to hide there, but then he takes. I can also go to... Okay, let me go to c2 and then decide later. 27 seconds is not a lot of time. Okay. Is it actually a draw? Let me make my move fast and see what happens. Yeah, because it feels like a huge material advantage. Next rook. Okay, now he goes... Ah, now I cannot go to c2. That's the difference. That's the difference. But this time, I guess I should go to b2, because I really don't want to go forward. Queen c3 looks very scary, but like after king b1... Well, I don't have any choice anyway. I don't see how you can... Ah, wait, queen d2? Yeah, there is queen d2. Hmm. There is queen d2, and then I cannot go knight king to b1 because of checkmate. But now if I go king to c1, queen takes, queen to b2, queen e3 check, queen d2, queen takes e4. How many pawns he has? Too much. Wow. 1 second. 1 second on the clock. Okay, now I don't have any choice. Okay, but now we are coming back to this very annoying line where my king... No, he's not giving me a check queen to c3. Why? Ah, wait, now if I go back, then there is queen takes d4 check, right? That must be the reason. Don't have time. That's very annoying. That's why I said in the beginning, time is a very important thing. Okay, but he's repeating the position. I don't have a choice. Not sure whether the reason he's not... Okay, now he's going for it. Now I don't have a choice again. I have to go here. But I hope if he's repeating the position, it means that it's not that bad. Okay, now if I sacrifice my queen, it's checkmate immediately. Otherwise, my king has only one move to go. So we have very crazy position after... Ah, wait, there's a checkmate immediately. Yeah. I was so concentrated on this bishop not to be lost that But I felt like going forward there, it's very dangerous for me. Well, but this is such a crazy position. I can't believe this whole sacrifice works and cannot be... It cannot be that bad for me. Let's take a look at the analysis because this is such a crazy position. Wow, that was a crazy game. I mean, going into the tactical battle against the Stockfish was my biggest mistake of this game, definitely. So you see, my opponent actually made two brilliant moves in this game. He, first of all, brilliantly sacrificed his knight with knight takes e3, and I took it. And then actually, rook takes e3 wasn't the right move. Queen takes d4 was winning immediately. But all of that happened just so that he can, after bishop e4, which was the wrong move, I had this move bishop to c4. I somehow didn't really think about it. After bishop c4, it's actually better for white. With completely the same idea, but just not allowing this. Yeah, I wanted to have this additional idea to attack the rook if the knight goes away, but this is just huge. And now I get to exchange it because if the knight goes away, then I still can take it. And otherwise, all of the problem stays. I mean, everything is hanging. How couldn't I play it? Yeah, bishop e4 is a huge blunder because rook takes e4, another brilliant move. Of course, I saw this move, but I somehow couldn't believe that in such a position it's going to be winning. In fact, that's just completely winning for black, absolutely zero chances for me. So all of those moves my opponent made were just to humiliate me there with all of those repeating moves. It's always and always checkmate, so I don't have any idea why he repeats that. It's always checkmating, and finally he won here. But that was a crazy game. I played the opening actually quite good, having a very good position, but unfortunately I spoiled in the end of the day. So don't go too aggressive against the computer. That's advice number one. But still, the importance of the plan is very important. It's just that I couldn't really show you all of the strategic ideas here because my opponent just crushed me with mind-blowing attack, and I actually started it myself, taking that pawn on b7. I felt I shouldn't do it. So that's another lesson for you to learn. And in this video, I share with you 5 things I wish I knew when I was at 1000 rated level. If I knew it back at the time, it would help me to increase my level so much faster than I did.